Hi everyone, it's Dan. Welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. You know, I got a Marvel Legends set of action figures from Hasbro Pulse. I ordered it from Hasbro Pulse. I expected this to be a pre-order, and it shipped within hours and arrived to me a couple days later. This is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Wasp and Ant-Man 2-pack, and it does look pretty cool. I'm going to open it up. We're going to talk about that today on the show, but the other thing I want to talk about before we start today is that I'm going to be running a contest. You see, as of this video, I am sitting at about 350 subscribers. I have the HasLab Giant Man on pre-order. I also have the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure. If I can hit 700 subscribers by the time that HasLab Giant Man arrives to my home and is in my possession, I will give away my old Toy Biz Hasbro Build-A-Figure Giant Man. But we got to hit 700 subscribers. So that is the first thing. We'll go on from there. If we hit 700 subscribers, how we'll go about doing that giveaway. But we have until whenever that Giant Man arrives, which is probably September, October, somewhere around there. And I'm recording this in April. So if you want to be part of that, hit the subscribe button. Hopefully we can get up to 700 by then. But without further ado, let's take a look at this 2-pack and share some thoughts.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
First things first, we are going to take a look at Hank Pym, otherwise known as Giant Man. I do apologize in my intro. I believe I said Ant-Man. The package for this actually says Giant Man under Hank Pym's name. One thing to point out right away is that this figure is wearing a soft goods cape. I'm not the biggest fan, or not a cape, a jacket. I'm not the biggest fan of soft good jackets. I feel like sometimes they kind of impede movement, although so far this doesn't look too bad. I haven't really moved him around too much in it yet, but under the jacket, we can see we have some very nice costume details. You have that black strap that Giant Man has on his torso, and they painted it through the joint, at least on the front, so when you kind of bend this articulation point back, you don't break up the paint. It is there, and you can bend it forward, you know. I'm assuming the articulation is the same as every type of Marvel Legends that we've had, but we're going to explore that in just a moment. This is really the first time I've been messing around with him. I just took him out of the package. So I do want to take the jacket off, and to do that, you can, you know, kind of peel it off on the arms, and I was wondering if this was the Vulcan body. Looking at it, I don't think it is. One thing to point out, this hand is kind of like a gripping hand, so the jacket might get stuck on it. So what I'm going to do is pop the hand off, pull the jacket off, there we go, and it probably come off easily on this end because it's not a gripping hand, but I could be wrong. So once again, we'll pop the hand off. There we go. Take that jacket off. Probably leave it off for the remainder of this review. And no, it's not that this Pym doesn't have hands, but he does have interchangeable hands. There are just two open grip hands that we have been getting, and I'm going to play around with some of these hand combinations because he does have things that he can hold, so I want to really figure out which is going to be better. Let me put this grip hand in. This was the one that he originally had, and this hand, it is on a joint that allows you to go up and down like this. It's probably normally a trigger hand, but old Pym here comes with a couple of different types of science beakers and flasks, so good for holding this flask like that. And there's also this one. I believe all these things have come with the retro card lizard, so these, I don't believe any of these are highly unique or original. I think we've seen them before, but if you can get him in the hand, there we go. He can hold this one too, so he can do science. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful science. Let's give him his other hand. Of course, the one hand option is the fist. There is this larger kind of open hand option, which that doesn't look terrible. I'm wondering, it's not going to really balance the beaker in there, but there is also some kind of like data pad that you can not really stick in this hand either, if I'm being honest. Yeah, doesn't want to balance well in this hand, unless if I curl his arm more, can it kind of sit like that? No, it's not really sitting there well either. So it really seems like this hand is the best hand for holding stuff. There is also a tiny little Avengers Quinjet that you can maybe have him hold, or there we go. Hey, that hand can hold something. There we go. He can hold a little Quinjet. So there we go. We looked at accessories sooner than I thought I was going to. There is also a swappable head, which is that masked kind of Giant Man head. It has the black antenna, which that HasLab Giant Man is going to have. You also have the white antenna option. Just to see what it looks like, let me put his accessories down for a moment. And if I swap out his head, it ends up looking something like this. I will say, do be careful when you're doing this. I worry about these antennas popping out, although this doesn't look very bad at all. This actually looks pretty neat. Just to go over his articulation real quick, as I said, ab crunch, waist movement, the belt goes with it. You can probably move the belt down so that it doesn't go with it, however you want to display the figure. There are butterfly joints here, and bit of a, I guess if you bend it back too far, you get some missing paint, but as long as you keep it like this and, you know, move it like that, it's not going to look terrible. Arms go all the way around, out that far, rotation at the shoulder, double jointed pinless elbow, to point that out. Hole in the back if you want to plug in like a flight stand, a cape, something. I don't know why you'd give Giant Man a cape, but you can. Legs kick out this far. Of course, they rotate. There is double jointed knee, pinless again. We do have boot cut, which is nice. And ankles go up and down and side to side. So pretty standard articulation for a Marvel Legends figure. And this figure actually looks pretty neat. You know, it is the ungrown version of Giant Man, the non-giant regular man. I don't know what you want to call him, but I'm going to quickly bring in that Target exclusive classic Ant-Man, just to do a quick comparison with them. So here's both Ant-Man and Giant Man standing together. And honestly, I forgot until right now just kind of how different the Ant-Man costume is from the Giant Man costume, namely the symbol. But of course, the blues on the Ant-Man are a little lighter. These are some darker, deeper blues. Of course, different heads, things like that. But for the most part, kind of hitting on the same beats. Even have the same zigzag pattern on the gloves, although this one has it on the boots. This one does not. It just has kind of a flat boot right there. Now, I will say this Target version apparently is supposed to be Scott Lang and not Hank Pym. I use it as the Pym in my display just because, you know, why not? This lab coat will probably fit on either one of them if you want to do that. Or you could just have, you know, kind of science Hank Pym, just, you know, have the unmasked head. I'm honestly kind of digging this look personally, so that will probably be the way that this stays. But of course, Giant Man, this version of Pym, isn't the only figure in this 2-pack. There's also a Wasp figure. So let's quickly take a look at her. This is the Wasp figure right out of the package, and already this figure is gorgeous. This is very much like that first Avengers appearance kind of Wasp. And there's the nice silver W there on the collar. You have shoulder pads, which look great. The head has the headset and the little antenna, as well as like the cone. I don't know what to call this, a stinger or something. She is a pinless figure, as you can see, and the arms do have double jointed elbows. Fantastic, fantastic stuff there. Arms, if you want to go over the movement real quick, they do go out that far. They can go fully around. This is soft, so the arms can, you know, they can move, but they move around them, so it's not like that's really getting in the way too much. Head gets a lot of nice movement to it. And in terms of the waist, there is no ab crunch, but I think it's on that inverted ball joint because we get a little bit of up and down, back and forth here. So there is that. It helps to not break up the skirt look too, I got to admit. In terms of legs, they kick out this far. Skirt gets in the way a little bit, but not terribly much. Of course, kick out that much. Rotation all the way around. Double jointed pinless knee. No boot cut, that's okay. We're getting ankle pivot and swivel, or swivel and pivot. And yeah, it just looks fantastic already. She doesn't even have her wings in yet. They do come as separate pieces in the box. Here is what they look like. And one of the things they pointed out when they unveiled this figure is that you can kind of have the wings go like this and have, you know, like the double kind of wing, like a top and a bottom. But they did mention that you can take this piece out and give her kind of just like, you know, the single wing, which I feel like was how she was originally drawn when the Avengers comic first launched. So you can kind of go single wing. I'll show you how both options look. Let me plug them both in. Of course, there are holes in her back, and you just plug in the wing. It does take a little bit of force. And there we go. So you can do open wings like this, or you can do the single wing. Of course, if you want to keep everything together, which I tend to be more of a fan of, you can just fold these up and you can barely tell that they're there. There you go. So she still stands with the wings out. Like, I'm not holding her right now. She's got no foot stands. She's not being supported by anything. This looks great. This looks really, really fantastic. There are more accessories. She has fists right now, but if you are so inclined, you could give her open hands. And they look like this. I was actually thinking of doing 1-in-1. So of course, to swap, it is very simple. Pop the hand out, put the hand you want in, and there we go. So you can kind of have a kind of like she's shooting energy or something. Maybe I need some type of energy effect, and something like this. Just kind of, there we go. You know, something like that. You can pose her out, make her look like she's flying, whatever you want to do with the figure. But before I go any further, there is one more accessory that I have not talked about yet, and I think it is my favorite accessory. It is the alternate head. You know, I spoke to Dwight from the Marvel Legends team at New York Comic Con this past fall, and when I did, we were talking about the possibility of a classic Wasp to go with the HasLab Giant Man, and he kind of confirmed one is coming, and I said, you know, is it going to be hooded or is it going to be an unhooded head? And he said, all I can tell you is the head sculpt is beautiful. He wouldn't confirm or deny anything, so I was glad to see that there are two heads, because I got to be honest, I never really liked this this look for Wasp. I always like Jan to have her hair out. That's just a personal thing. So there we go. Man, that looks gorgeous on this figure. Just absolutely wonderful, wonderful head sculpt. And just so much movement on this head too. You can really get it to be very expressive. I'm actually going to stick her on a flight stand real quick so you can kind of see what she looks like when she's posed in the air. So there we go. Here's Wasp just on a flight stand, looking really cool. You know, this looks great. This is the Wasp I've been hoping we were going to get for quite a while. I mean, just bringing her in again, like, this figure is stunning. Honestly, this was the one I was very excited for. I didn't know we were getting the Pym Giant Man, not giant figure. But we knew this was coming when they showed her off, you know, a couple months ago. This was the one I was excited for. I didn't know she was going to be part of a wave, of a set, of a 2-pack. I'm glad it was a 2-pack of 2 figures that I'm okay with getting, because I really did want this Wasp. This is such a great, great looking Wasp figure. So let's just quickly put the two back together and take a look at them together. So there we go. Here's this 2-pack of Pym and Janet as Wasp and Giant Man. Really excited to have this in my collection. Still surprised that it went up for order and was at my house like 2 days later. That was pretty darn amazing. Very cool stuff. But let me know, are you getting this set? Are you planning on getting this? And let me know in the comments below what you think of it. Love to hear your feedback. Until next time, I've been Dan. You've all been pretty awesome. I'll see you around. Well, there we go. What did you think of this video? Sound off in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Remember, we are making a push to get to 700 subscribers here on the channel. If we do that before the HasLab Giant Man arrives, I will be giving away the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure that you've seen on my shelf and things like that. So hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit like if you're so inclined, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.